everyone, welcome to another week. So this week we're going to start the category of anxiety disorders. And the first one that we're going to tackle is social anxiety. I've dealt with social anxiety since I was a really young child, and the way that I coped with my social anxiety was using, whether it be drinking, smoking marijuana, doing hard drugs, whatever I could do in order to get myself to feel comfortable in social situations. I'm a very big introvert, and it's not that I'm antisocial or that I don't like to be around people. I like people. It's just that too many people really don't mix well with me. I get all of my energy sucked out. I get very scared. I feel that people are judging me, or someone's gonna say something mean to me, or just in general, it's a huge anxiety that is very hard for me to deal with. The counselor that I interviewed is a counselor that I have worked personally with for the last year or so, and she is amazing. Her name is Leah Hoffman, and she's an LAC for the Williston, North Dakota area. She is so insightful, and I'm so happy that I got to sit down and do this interview with her. I hope that you guys enjoy it like I did, and that you really truly get something out of it. Okay, enjoy! So today we are filming with Leah Hoffman. She's an LAC for the Williston, North Dakota community. We are going to be speaking with her today just about a few things, including her schooling and what it takes to be an LAC. Leah has been involved with many different things around the community, some of which she's created herself. One of them is Out of the Darkness Walk. It's to raise awareness for suicide. Another one is Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, which raises awareness about sexual assault in men and women. And then she even brought therapy dogs to the college so people from the school could de-stress during all of their finals week and just kind of hang out with dogs, which is really cool. So welcome to my channel, and thank you for doing this interview with me, and I'm really excited. What exactly do you do in your coursework for being an LAC?
Okay. Yeah, a lot of the classes that I take, of course, there's psychology classes, the human development, things along those lines, as in like how did you get to the point where you are. One thing that I've noticed with addiction counseling specifically is we focus a lot more on how are you going to get where you want to go, as opposed to what happened to you in the past. We tend to leave that in the past and focus more on the future. A lot of the coursework, there's relapse prevention classes, treatment planning, addressing co-occurring disorders is one of them that I'm in right now, and it's really heavily influenced a lot of my work, because with addiction counseling, the terms of co-occurring mean you have an addiction disorder as we call it, and a mental health disorder simultaneously. One doesn't necessarily cause the other, but they're both occurring at the same time. And it's a really hot topic right now in counseling services, because we always try to choose what do you treat first, what's primary. And we're now learning, best practice is to treat both as their primary. And that's why it's so important for an addiction counselor to be able to treat mental health, as well as a mental health professional to be able to recognize when an addiction disorder is occurring. And so best practice would be to treat both of them at the same time, which in our community right now isn't as easy as we would like it to be for the lack of professionals we have right now. But that's a really interesting thing is, when you first meet someone, co-occurring should be expected. You shouldn't be like, oh, you also are having this. Anticipate that it's going to be there, so that you're not surprised when it is, and that you're better able to treat it. Other classes, wellness and recovery classes, treating the whole person, not just the disease. You learn group dynamics, and when you're in a room with a lot of people with a lot of personalities, kind of how to command the group and facilitate and guide it where you want it to go. Trauma, disaster response. There's a lot of different topics that are covered.
That's very interesting. I didn't realize that so much actually went into the schooling. I thought you just went in and you're like, oh, well, here's my license, I took a 2-month course online, now I'm ready to go treat people. It's really cool that you dive into many different areas, not just addiction, but mental health.
Yeah, you know, with the last job that I worked at here at the college, a lot more specific into prevention and somewhat of treatment. Working at the Human Service Center in Williston, there were days where I was a child protection advocate, where I was, you know, removing kids from homes. There were times where I was talking specifically about brain chemistry and how it affects you when you're using different substances, what your withdrawals are happening. So some days, I mean, I was like not a scientist, of course, but I was talking about brain chemistry. And then other days I was teaching parents about what paraphernalia looks like, what to look for in their kids. You know, and then other days I was talking to people about how to quit smoking, you know, just like simple, not that it's easy, but like kind of more low-key stuff. So there's a wide spectrum of things you can do. And I think with schooling, being an addiction counselor, you can work in a lot of different areas. You know, you can work in a prison, you can work in a hospital, you can work in a school. The schooling, you know, when you're in the school, you don't know exactly where you're going to work, so they have to prepare you for anything. So that's why you get such a wide variety of experiences. And then after you start working, you can kind of channel it more into a direct route that you want to take.
What are some things that you've learned about your own mental health since becoming an LAC?
What have I learned about my own mental health? That it exists, that it's there, and that I should pay attention to it. You know, I started this when I was just going into college, so I was really young, and it kind of taught me to pay attention to it and to do little inventories every day. How am I doing in this area, and if I don't feel well overall, to kind of look into, you know, what are my thoughts, what's going on right now, have I done my self-care, if I'm slipping in any area, you know, practice what I preach and take the time to address it and get me back to where I am functioning my best. Nobody's immune to it. I mean, you have to take care of your mental well-being the same as you take care of your physical well-being. And so for me personally, it's just checking into when am I feeling burnt out, am I getting enough sleep, how are my relationships, where's my communication at, and really emphasizing the self-care.
What would you recommend for someone who struggles with social anxiety?
Social anxiety is hard. I know a lot of times people feel like isolating, going into a large crowd can be really overwhelming. Going somewhere where you feel like you don't have an out, like if you have to walk in front of a lot of people, or if you're feeling stuck, like you don't easy access to an exit. You know, my recommendation, you know, if you feel like it's bad enough, of course talk to a professional, but if you are comfortable kind of testing your comfort zone, start by going somewhere where you feel safe, where you don't feel too overwhelmed. And, you know, for example, like if you're going to go to a basketball game, rather than sitting in the middle of the crowd, sit close to the door. And pay attention to what you're thinking in any situation. Our thoughts directly control how we feel and control our physiology. You know, if I'm thinking, what if I have to go to the bathroom and I can't get out of here? You know, your body starts to react to that. So thinking, I'm sitting by the door, it's fine, I can leave if I want to, and just really take a good inventory of what your thoughts are while you're in that situation, and try to change them. It's not easy to do, but that's kind of where you start. And start somewhere where you're comfortable, and as you get more comfortable in the situation, push your boundaries a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I know with my own social anxiety, it's been really difficult, and working through some of those things have gotten better. I haven't gotten perfect because it takes a lot of practice, but it does get better as you keep pushing and keep going on. Like, I can walk into church now and I'm like, oh, who am I going to sit next to? I sat next to a total stranger yesterday, and it was totally fine for me. Just baby steps is a really good idea.
Yeah, and it's practice. I mean, if you want to get good at something, you're not going to get good at it overnight. You just practice at it like you practice at anything else.
Mm-hmm. What is your counsel for someone who is afraid to talk to a professional?
I completely understand that going and sitting with a stranger who is a professional can be scary or overwhelming. You know, my suggestion would be if if you're completely against that route, try to get plugged in a different way. You know, there's online resources, there's telephone resources you can use, talking to somebody that you are comfortable with. You know, maybe that could transition into that person going with you. We're not against that, and having somebody there with you that you're comfortable being there with you is better than you not coming at all. The hope would be that you could kind of segue into not having that person there, and going one-on-one. But another way to think about it is don't think about it as a huge commitment right away. You know, if you're going into an office or you're scheduling an appointment, don't think, oh my gosh, I'm going to see this person every week for the next year. What if I don't like them? You know, that's just an example. Think of it as I'm going for one appointment just to see what it's about. See what they have to say, how they could possibly help me. And you don't have to lay all your cards out right away. You know, you can ease into it. So just try initial appointments. At a lot of centers you can go to, you can go for an information and a referral session, and you don't even have to be considered. You don't have to give them your info. You know, you can just go and feel it out first, and if you like it, then you can be, you know, admitted, or you can continue on if you want to.
You know, I've kind of learned that going into different like therapy or counseling sessions, it's kind of like dating or finding new friends. Like, you're not just going to walk in there and be like, oh, I have dissociative disorder and I'm schizophrenic sometimes. Yeah. Like, most people aren't just going to walk into a friendship and say those types of things. So you do really have to feel it out. I was really against treatment when I first went in, and I realized after the first like month and a half that it was starting to get way better. It was really awesome to be able to just talk and somebody else to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I like to emphasize here. Is, you know, in what other setting are you going to get to go and talk to somebody where they're only listening to you, they're completely focused on you? You know, when we talk to our friends, maybe they're like on their phone or looking around and they're biased. And talking to a counselor, they're just a sounding board. You know, if you have something you need input on, or you want some feedback, or you want to think about it in a different way, a counselor is someone you can go to for that. You know, you don't have to always bring, you know, the big dogs to the conversation. Of course, that's okay too, but we're just the sounding board, can offer input.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for the interview today. Leah hopefully will be on my channel again at some other point during a different category that we're working on. So thank you so much.
Of course,
it's really awesome. I hope that you guys really enjoyed that interview as much as I did. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, or give it a thumbs down if you don't like it. That's okay. Go ahead and subscribe, because I will be doing more mental illness videos like this every single week. And I also do a bunch of beauty stuff too. So whatever your fancy, put it in the comments below and I will talk to you guys. And I'm so happy that you watched. Thank you so much. Okay, bye!